If rumors are to be believed, F1 25 might be the final Formula 1 game released under the EA Sports umbrella. And even though the game hasn't crashed and burned, most of us can agree that it is anything but a revolution for the series. However, that's not how it used to be. See, last time EA said au revoir to the world of Grand Prix, they managed to release a true legend of sim racing, a masterpiece forged and supported by long-term fans, an overall huge success for the genre. The year is 2003, and this is F1 Challenge 99-02.
EA Sports. It's in the game.
EA Sports entered the world of Formula 1 in the year 2000. Many publishers tried to benefit off of the sport's popularity back in the day, while only a handful could provide the public with current season games. Next to Sony and their beloved series, EA would have been your best shout for a couple of years. Both PC and console gamers got the chance to race the beautiful V10 machines, if only for early PC outings to disappoint in press reviews. Their success was to be built within Image Space Incorporated. Previously known for Sports Car GT, the studio had struggled to compete with classics like the Grand Prix series or Ubisoft's F1 racing sim. That doesn't mean there wasn't potential, especially in terms of visual design. Nevertheless, it took another 2 years for them to truly flourish. F1 2002 was a breakthrough success for the studio. Not only did Image Space manage to build the basis for future entries, they'd managed to stand toe-to-toe with the long-awaited Grand Prix 4. Some outlets actually declared F1 2002 the winner of this unforeseen duel. Surely 2003 is only gonna improve upon... Oh, I see. Sony had secured the exclusive rights to release Formula 1 video games for PlayStation systems. With that deal in place, EA Sports' final Formula 1 game was going to be released in 2003. 4 seasons were to be included, making it a rather unique experience right from the get-go. GameCube owners, Xbox aficionados, and PlayStation fans could enjoy a full-on career mode where F1 Challenge would very much resemble its predecessor on PC. Still, F1 Challenge 99-02 was able to build a loyal fan base, and considering its solid foundation, it's easy to see why. Physics were about as good as they got for a number of years, with twitchy F1 cars feeling very snappy, if a little unstable on the rear end. Keep in mind that we're talking about an era during which traction control had actually been legalized, so don't feel too guilty trying to mitigate the effects of this unforgiving brute. AI drivers seem a bit incompetent these days, but for 2003, their racing was serviceable. We'll get to that later on, don't worry. Setup options were aplenty, sound design and graphics were on point, and many details like a little pre-race grid walk and TV graphics add to the atmosphere of the entire experience.
Hello there. Welcome to Australia. The weather, as so often is the case here, is just wonderful.
Your race engineer was a fine companion, if mildly monotone in many instances.
You're running things.
Damage was detailed enough, with wheels, front wings, and rear wings flying about the place if you happen to tackle the competition. Or the wall. Wet weather was an incredibly tricky challenge, and those unwilling to run bigger brake discs or open up their radiators would have encountered a bit of trouble out on track. Then again, sometimes your car just decides to give up without any setup mistakes. Such was the nature of early 2000s Formula 1. Technical gremlins regularly cost McLaren and Williams, whereas Ferrari was able to leave their burning motors in the past. Some of your rivals even stall on the starting grid. Luciano Berti, Michael Schumacher, 2001, anybody? No? Okay. 4 seasons of teams, drivers, and circuits only added to the replay value. Layouts changed depending on the season you picked, lineups evolved according to real life, barring in-season changes, sorry Mika Salo, and you could even simulate real-life events and retirements like Michael Schumacher's crash in Silverstone 1999. Sort of. Never before had there been this amount of content, to use a modern term, in an officially licensed Formula 1 game for PC. Yes, there wasn't a career mode, though one might argue that you didn't need one to tell your own story, tread your own path in the premier class of open-wheel racing. Other players have tried to rewrite history, getting Heinz-Harald Frentzen his deserved 1999 World Championship, if you catch my drift. All in all, a fun racing game, but to be honest, That's not the only reason people remember F1 Challenge on PC. Image-based titles had always been a fruitful fest for the sim racing modding community. F1 Challenge and its easy-to-edit game files are no exception. Over the years, any Grand Prix season imaginable would join the F1 Challenge stable. Results varied in terms of how well said championship was to be replicated or how much the game was willing to incorporate. Even so, the original concept of multiple seasons within one release had suddenly turned the base game into an interactive Formula 1 history lesson. Projects like F1 Challenge VB have continuously tried to implement every single season into the simulation, a true testament to the dedication of its fan base. YouTube is filled to the brim with a whole host of career modes telling stories of young up-and-comers. Year on year, people shuffle their lineup according to in-universe storylines, truly turning F1 Challenge into their little Grand Prix playground. What if Ayrton Senna hadn't crashed in Imola in 1994? Or what if Michael Schumacher hadn't signed with Ferrari in 1996? What if McLaren had signed Nick Heidfeld instead of Kimi Räikkönen for 2002? Storytelling was to become a true backbone of the game's legacy, only hindered by its many problems. As I had alluded to, the AI was quite enjoyable for 2003. Looking back, the game feels a bit rushed in the light of features like tire wear not functioning properly, where your Bridgestones or Michelins burn to a crisp within a couple of laps, losing you valuable lap time in the process. Schumacher, Coulthard, and the alike won't suffer such consequences, only for the pace to suddenly drop off. More so, their behavior on track can range from delusional to sheer and utter. As much as F1 Challenge manages to immerse you when racing toe-to-toe, pushing your car to the absolute limit, taking in all of the little track-detailed sights and sounds, all of that can vanish within seconds when confronted with anyone doing their best Eddie Guerrero lowrider impression. Special shout out to Imola and its immensely complicated pit entry. Another prime example happens to be good old Monaco and its combination of clearly unfitting forms of twisting and turning for the modern Grand Prix driver. Unless you yourself end up in the harbor or in the barrier, you're very much set on securing 10 championship points. Lest we forget, lap 1 at any circuit essentially hands you about 10 to 12 places guaranteed. If any of you ever feel like blitzing the field at Hockenheim, you just adjust your setup to run with a little less wing, increase the revs, and goodbye everybody. This is how F1 Challenge 99-02 was released. As much as people adore the sim for its benefits, we can't argue its flaws, no matter how charming and cheesy they might be. Modern titles would surely be roasted for months if similar problems were to be seen. Despite all of that, though, F1 Challenge still manages to produce fantastic stories, great duels, and offers what I can only describe as the ultimate Formula 1 sandbox. No other game of its era has managed to combine so many cars, drivers, circuits, series, ideas, and dreams. Its creativity served as the base for what was to come with R-Factor 1 and its flood of fantastic modding projects. And whilst the problems outlined frustrate new players, they've seemingly spurred the old guard on to fix as many things as they could. Recently, new TV graphics have been added to the game, providing more detailed sector times and team radio text messages. Editing TXT files allows for players to alter fuel depletion levels, tire degradation, AI pit strategies, starting grids, lap-to-lap weather conditions, retirements, and many more options. If you want to recreate a specific race in Formula 1 history, it might be a tedious hassle to get to, but it is possible. AI setups can be tinkered with, so the previously mentioned Hockenheim hammer time won't be a foregone conclusion any longer. TXT editing could even unlock features that hadn't made it into the game's user interface. Thanks to a few community tweaks, you can run a formation lap, do an outlap before the grid even forms, or watch the AI race each other, though I wouldn't recommend it personally. Others will provide specific numbers to enter so you can replicate the tilted T-cam for your F1 Challenge adventures. This is how I've been able to use this perspective and not feel stuck to whatever this FOV happens to be. Dedicated diehards even race this game online right Now, in 2025, particularly poignant ping be damned. To be completely frank, I'm not sure whether F1 25, 24, or most other EA racing games from this period are going to be held in such high regard in a decade or two. F1 Challenge is horrendously flawed, sometimes outright dysfunctional. Nonetheless, it's a game that pulses through time with a mixture of solid physics, a unique concept, and an undying will to provide Formula One fans worldwide with their own polygonal sandbox to play in. If nothing else, that is most likely going to be this game's legacy. One of creativity, passion, experiments. Quite a stark contrast to the corporate culture oozing out of modern Grand Prix titles. Not to say Codemasters needs to repeat anything like this, both in terms of scale and in terms of opening up the files for fans to have a look around. Maybe the fact that something like this can't be replicated nowadays only adds to the continuous flame of the Image Space Classic. If it wasn't for this Formula One adventure, who knows what the true racing simulator might have looked like. But what do you think? Do you prefer pre-packaged EA games of 2025 or imperfect yet open releases in the vein of F1 Challenge? Let us know in the comments below. Until then, thank you for watching. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe. Have a wonderful day and, of course, keep racing. Bye-bye.